This week, the Wall Street Journal offered two stories I got into. One was on the humorous side, the other a bit less so, but worthy of attention. First, when my wife and I became grandparents, it did not occur to us that we would not be called Grampy and Grammy. Growing up with both a Gram, Grampy, Grandmère, French side, Grandpa this or that, and a Nana. Oh, I have a photo of myself, my son, his grandpa, and his great-grandpa. All four generations in the picture, a treasured shot. Now, I looked up what the wiki folks had to say on the subject of grandparents. Lots there. Found out that the prefix grand dates from the early 13th century from the Anglo-French word grand. The term was used as a translation of Latin magnus. The prefix grand represents a direct translation of Magnus into English. So the use of the term grandparents sets up an image of older and wiser. Someone who has been around and who needs to be listened to and respected. So to be a grand is important, or is it? Oh, how times have changed. According to Claire Ainsbury, writing in the journal's 25 May edition, about 1.7 million people become grandparents each year. And they now have a chance to pick out a name other than the traditional. They can even go to websites and books devoted to name alternatives. So you can be Bappa, Chief, Skipper, Punky, Bubby, Pop-Pop, Mimi, Mamau, Nona, Bober, Napa, or Sonoma, Jomama, Go Dog, Baba, Biggie, Papster, Mama Bear, Honey, Bob Bon, and the list goes on. If you can think it up and it sticks, you are good to go. But I am struggling with the amount of respect you give to a grandparent called Bobber, as opposed to that very powerful term, Grandpa. Will anyone hold the door open for Bobber? I suppose they will if Bobber can't open it himself. Now I propose that we ask all the folks we know who appear old enough to have grandchildren what they are actually called by the grandkids. We'll put the selections in the word order that you think commands the greatest respect, but don't show it around. Now, on to the distantly related second Wall Street Journal article. That one talked to the fact that more and more of America's kids are living with their parents and or Grandpa Bubba. The share of young adults, that would be the millennials aged 18 to 34, living with their parents hit 32.1% in 2014. That number is greater than the 31.6% who lived with a spouse or a partner in a separate household. Now, the rest of the folks, up to 100, lived alone or with roommates or were single parents. In the 1960s, a peak of 62% of that age group lived as part of a romantic couple, while only 20% lived with mom and dad. So why is everybody staying at home? The Pew Research Center has been studying this issue for some time and suggests some possible explanations. One is declining employment. In 2012, 63% of the 18 to 31-year-olds had jobs, down from 70% of that age group in 2007. In 2012, 45% of unemployed millennials were living with parents. But if you had a job, it dropped down to 29%. Best get Johnny a job, Dad. The second reason for this phenomenon might be college enrollment. In March of 2012, 39% of 18 to 24-year-olds were enrolled in college. The number at home was 66% versus 50% for those not in college. The third possibility is a decline in marriage. In 2012, 25% of millennials were married, down from the 30% in 2007. Getting married got you out the door 47% versus 3%. Now, to blame this problem solely on the ladies, but it seems that American ladies are delaying their marriages. In 2013, women were half as likely to be married as young women were in 1940. Today, the typical woman begins her first marriage at 27. In 1940, it was 21.5. Now, my own girls were in their mid-30s before tying the knot. So if you add this all up, it means that millennials with jobs who don't have to pay for housing because dad has that one covered, they have extra money to go out and eat and to buy stuff. Now that's great, unless of course they are paying off a heavy student loan debt. Thank you for watching, and God bless.